following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. This is Comfortably Zoned Radio, and it's time for Dodgers baseball, a tale of two cities from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. My name is Peter Trunk, and my co-hosts are Ron Rabinovitz and Robert Cole. Ron, how are you?
Good. How are you, Peter?
I'm doing fine. How's Minneapolis treating you?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Nice and cold out there, I suppose?
About 32 today.
Oh, that's balmy for you.
Not bad.
And my other partner, Robert Cole, down in Florida. What's it, about 100 degrees down there, Robert?
Oh, no, Peter. It's a very chilly 72.
There you go.
Oh.
Rub it in. A chilly 72. Rub it in. Shirt sleeves on Christmas Day. Oh, boy. Anyway, welcome to both of you. It's good to hear you. I hope you had a good holiday and all set for the new year. This will be our final show of 2018. So we're going to talk some Brooklyn. We might touch on some Los Angeles before we get out of here. And we'll start it off. I think we'll start it off with Ron Rabinovitz. I think Ronnie wants to talk about a certain screwball right-handed pitcher. Ronnie?
Yeah. I was going to talk about Billy Loes.
Okay.
He was quite an eccentric ball player. He was a character, boy. He was a pretty good pitcher. He played in the major leagues for 11 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He was with the Dodgers in 1950 and then 52 to 56. Then he went to the Orioles from 56 to 59. And he ended his career with the Giants in 1960 and 61.
Right.
He had a year, he won 80 games and lost 63. His ERA was 3.89 in 1,190 innings. He was an all-star in the American League in 57.
Wow.
And he was a starting pitcher. This was a funny story. He told Red Barber that he was the son of a Greek immigrant, but that he had changed his name. But Billy Loes would not tell Barber his real last name because he said Red would be unable to pronounce it, spell it, or remember it.
Okay.
He said that he never wanted to win 20 games because he said that if he won 20, they'd expect it from him every year.
Right.
Unbelievable. What a character. He won, and he was the first pitcher ever to balk in a World Series. And he's later said that he had too much spit on the ball. What a character. He really was a character.
You know, in 1961, you said he played a little bit at the San Francisco Giants in 61?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be a New York Met. He refused to report. He was taken by the New York Mets in the expansion draft and never reported.
Well, he actually...
I just thought I'd throw that in.
The Dodgers were in Cincinnati.
Wait a minute. What's that, Robert?
Okay, if you remember correctly, Peter, in the 1961 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, Loes rode on the Mets float in that parade, along with Casey Stengel, Gil Hodges, and Albert Jackson.
Yeah, he was on the float in the Thanksgiving Day Parade, Macy's Parade, yeah. That's true.
So he was in Cincinnati, and the team was getting ready to leave the hotel to go to Chicago. And he goes to Buzzy Bavasi, and he says, I won my money. I'm going home. He says, what are you talking about? He says, you signed me for $14,000, and you said it was $1,000 for each win. He says, I got my 14 wins. I'm going home. What a character.
Yes, that's a great story. That's a great story. I've read that in a few places. That's funny.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Character, all right.
Yeah.
Of course, he's also infamous for making an error in the World Series, and they asked him what happened. He said he lost the ball in the sun, and it was a ground
In the
ball.
sun.
Yes.
Right.
And Carl Erskine explained that's definitely a possibility in Ebbets Field, because the sun used to peek through the stands in the later innings, and it was a high bouncing ground ball, and he did in fact lose it in the sun. But it just fits Billy Loes to say I lost the ground ball.
But they all laughed at him. I mean, it was.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It is a funny story.
His two best years were 52 and 53. He was 13-8 in 52 with a 2.69 ERA, and in 53 he was 14-8 with a 4.54. And that was the year he wanted to go home. Did he go home?
No, he did not go home.
No,
of course not. Bavesi told him, get on the damn train. I don't know if you've ever heard this story, Robert or Ronnie, but after he turned the Mets down, he lived in Queens, New York, which is right outside of Brooklyn, and he used to run around with these guys, and they would play poker at his house every Wednesday night, and his friends would come over and they would play very high stakes poker game, cash, no chips, no checks, just straight cash, and it was very, very heavy games, and word got out, and a couple of bad people had a plan that they were going to break in and rob the game, steal the money from the guys around the table. So they waited until about 11:30 the next Wednesday night, and they broke through with guns drawn and everything, and demanded Loes give them the money. Where's all the money? And Loes said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Your poker game. You have a poker game here every Wednesday night, and we know there's thousands of dollars." He said, "Poker game was canceled tonight. One guy was sick, and the other guy had car trouble, and so we called it off, and nobody came. There's no game tonight." So they said, "Well, we didn't break in here for nothing. Give us all your money or whatever." They tied him to a chair, and they took his money, a few $100 or whatever. And on their way out, Billy said to them, "Can you do me a favor? Could you set the place on fire so I could get the insurance money?" And of course they didn't. They just left. But that's the kind of guy Billy Loes was. And I'm not even going to mention his numerous fraternity suits that Bavesi got him out of in Brooklyn while he was a pitcher for the Dodgers back in the 50s. But is there anything else you want to add to that, Ronnie?
Yeah, he did pitch the sixth game of the World Series in 1950. I think there was 52, and he said that he predicted that the Yankees would win it in 7.
Yes, he did.
And they won that game.
The joke was, and it was supposedly it was a true story. Some writer said, "What is your prediction on the series?" It was either 52 or 53. I don't know. But
52, he said.
Loes actually said, "I picked the Yanks in 6."
In 7.
And they printed it. They printed the story. And he caught all kinds of hell for that. Years and years later, after he retired, someone brought that up in an interview, and he said, "I was misquoted. I never said I picked the Yankees in 6. I said I picked the Yankees in 7.
Yes.
What a character.
Yeah.
What a character. Yeah.
He was Bo Belinsky before Bo Belinsky knew how to be eccentric.
Right. He was certainly eccentric. So that's what I got with Billy Loes.
Yeah, Billy Loes, number 30.
Uh-huh.
A good right-handed pitcher. Pitcher. Before each Dodger game, for years and years, I think from 1950 to 1957. I'll stand corrected by Robert Cole. There was a heavyset fellow that used to have a pregame show, and the name of the show changed over the years, but we all remember it as the Knothole Gang, and it was brought to you by Happy Felton, who was a large man in every way, shape, or form. He used to wear a full Dodger uniform and cap, and I'm going to let Robert Cole fill us in on that. Robert, if you would.
Yes. Happy Felton had a long prior career before baseball. He was a vaudeville actor as a young man. He was a big band leader, very well-known band leader, and went out fishing with Walter O'Malley one day, and he pitched a show that he'd like to do to Walter O'Malley prior to Dodger games, to involve kids and do it before the games. O'Malley went to Branch Rickey. Branch Rickey said, fine. Okay, and so the show started. And it was a half-hour show before every Dodger home game where they had, I believe it was 3 youth ball players, not necessarily Little League, but amateur youth ball players. And they would be tried out by one of the Dodgers, Jackie Robinson, Pee Wee Reese. All the players got a turn. The player got $50 for appearing. They would run the different players through their paces. If there were pitchers that night, then one of the pitchers would be doing it. If they had 3 first basemen, Gil Hodges would be the one that was running through their paces, shortstop Pee Wee Reese, et cetera, et cetera. And this went on, as Peter said, from 1950 until August 24th, 1957, when explicitly, okay, and I even remember this explicitly, okay, I went to turn the game on. There was an afternoon game that day from Ebbets Field, and I went to turn the Happy Felton show on, and it wasn't there. And, my father worked in the city as well, and I called him up and said, is it possible that it's raining in Brooklyn? And he said, no, what are you talking about? And it was just pulled, okay? It was never to be seen again. And I've had many an argument over the years with different people on different sites who said that the show continued right until the last day, and it did not.
Did not.
The show was pulled something like 7 or 8 home games before the end of the season. Okay.
I wonder why.
I guess we all know who pulled the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was another sign that it was going.
Yeah.
He had no intention of bringing Happy Felton to Los Angeles with him.
Jeez.
Right.
So it was time to end the show, and they did. Now, a couple of, other funny stories related with Happy Felton, okay, and we'll bring in Cal Abrams, okay. I think we all know Cal Abrams as the man that was thrown out in the last game of the 1950 season at home
by Richie Ashburn.
By Richie Ashburn, okay, when that would have tied the score, and that was the second out, and then with the runner on third, Gil Hodges hit a long fly ball. But anyway, Cal Abrams, a couple of funny stories of Cal Abrams. Cal Abrams was on the Happy Felton show, and he made arrangements with one of the participants, and he said, look, if I pick you as the winner, okay, and then the idea was the next day that player who got picked as the winner would talk to his favorite player.
Right.
And that player,
I remember that. Right.
Yep. And that player again would get $50. $50 to be on the Knothole Gang show, $50 to answer questions the next day in the dugout. And the kid says, yeah, sure. So he picks the kid as the winner. And then when Happy Felton said, and who would you like to talk to tomorrow, as your favorite player? And he goes, Pee Wee Reese.
That's good. That's priceless. I love it.
Sat there shocked. Okay,
I love it. I used to hate. This is going to be politically incorrect for me to say, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I used to hate every now and then when a kid would win, and they'd say, who do you want to talk to tomorrow? And he would say, Sandy Amoros. And I hated that because the next day I would watch and I couldn't understand one word of what Sandy Amoros was saying to the kid. Not one word.
Yeah,
I hated that.
Roy Campanella.
I hated that.
Yeah, Roy Campanella used to have to be the interpreter.
Yeah, there you go. Because he knew from playing winter ball. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny. My cousin Michael Smith was on that show.
Was he really? Huh?
Yeah, Pee Wee Reese hit ground balls. He was an infielder. Michael Smith, he was about 15 years old, 14, 15 years old. He was my father's sister's son, my cousin Michael Smith. He was on, and he won. And he asked to talk to Duke Snyder or something like that. Yeah, he got, I forget what he got. I think he got a glove. They gave him a brand new Rawlings glove.
He got
a bat, and he might have gotten tickets.
Yeah.
He might have gotten a couple of tickets to a future game. But that was exciting in my household. We all lived together in a four-family house. Yeah, that was great. In the very beginning, his show was called the Spotlight Show, if I'm not mistaken. Happy Felton Spotlight Show. That almost immediately changed to Not Whole Gang.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to watch that. That was great. Yeah, Happy Felton. He was like 300 pounds. He had black frame glasses. He had black greased back hair. And he, like I said, he was like 300 pounds. He must have been about 6'4". He was a big guy. Always laughing, always jolly, always like, always in a good mood. I'm sure that was, for the cameras, but it just seemed like he was always, everything was funny and everything. I liked him. I liked him a lot. Yeah, he was happy. That's probably why he got his name. Hey, figure that one out. I went to college and everything, Ron. Man, am I smart. Anyway, what else you want to tell us about Happy Felton? He did not go to L.A., right? Right, Robert?
Yep. Happy also had the after-game show, called Talk to the Stars. And, one home player and one visiting player would get to go on the show, and again, they would get $50 for appearing.
Mm-hmm.
The day that Carl Erskine pitched his first no-hitter against the Chicago Cubs, if we remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
Other than a walk to Willard Ramsdell, the opposing pitcher, Carl would have had a perfect game.
Yes.
So Willard Ramsdell was asked to be the guest if Erskine finished his no-hitter. Ramsdell was sitting in a little anteroom right outside the studio where Happy had the show. And during the last inning, he was rooting against the Cubs and rooting for Erskine to get his teammates out so he could get the $50 and appear on the show.
Absolutely. If I remember correctly, the story continued. Unless do you know the rest of the story?
Well, when the last batter came up, he was actually.
I believe it was Swish Nicholson, wasn't it?
Right.
No, yes or no?
Screaming and yelling for him to strike out.
Yeah. He was screaming and yelling. You son of a bitch! He was yelling at the guy to not get a hit because he wanted the $50. Yep. It shows what $50 was back in 1950s.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, man.
A lot of money, sure.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely.
That's a great story. Happy Felton.
Another quick story about Cal Abrams. Okay.
Go ahead.
We talk about Charlie Dressen and some of the crazy things that Charlie Dressen did. And he was also, could be mean-spirited, Charlie Dressen, believe it or not. 1951, on Cal Abrams Day, he refused to play Cal Abrams.
Oh, boy.
No.
And then in
Get out.
Yep. Then in 1952,
Unbelievable.
the Dodgers and Reds were playing a doubleheader in Ebbets Field. And Dressen went up to Cal Abrams, who was in the dugout that day, and he said, "Look, Cal, I want you to really get on Luke Sewell, who was the Reds manager. Really give him the business. The Reds are having trouble right now. Really give him the business. Razz him, really work him over." So Cal Abrams spent the entire first game, yelling and screaming at Luke Sewell. In between games, Dressen went up to him and said, okay, you've just been traded to the Reds. Go across the other way.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And that was his new boss. Oh boy.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Is it true or is it just a story that Cal Abrams was buried in his Dodger uniform?
I heard it as being true.
Me too. I've heard it a few times from different people that he was buried. In fact, the latest guy to tell me that, to tell me that I was right about that was Peter Gollenbach, who wrote Bums. I always read and heard that Abrams was laid out in his Dodger uniform, and there would be no reason for them to change his outfit before they hermetically sealed the casket and buried him. I think he was buried in his Dodger uniform.
Yeah.
No kidding. Huh.
I believe that is true. I believe that is true.
Yeah.
His wife used to attend SABR meetings for the longest time down here in Florida, and I heard that from a SABR member who said that his wife told him that. So.
Okay.
Wow.
So then we know it's true. Okay.
It's true.
That definitely makes it true.
Wow.
I mean, I would believe Cal Abrams' wife before anybody else. So if she said it was true, then it's true.
Yeah.
That's a good story. That's a good story.
It sure is. Wow.
Yeah.
And so that's
Cal Abrams.
My Cal Abrams story. Yeah.
Well, let's mosey on over to the other side. Let's mosey on over to the dark side and talk about Los Angeles. Unless there's something else you want to add about Brooklyn or Ebbets Field before I do that. Anybody?
No.
Okay, I can go over to L.A.
Yeah. And are you going to stop at the Coliseum first or go right to Dodger Stadium?
Well, let's stop at the Coliseum. You know what I don't understand? This is what I don't understand. The Dodgers played at the Coliseum in 1958 and 1959. They had a very poor season in 1958, but they had a very good season in 1959. So good that they became champions of the world. Okay, they beat the Chicago White Sox in the World Series. And everybody knew about the Chinese wall, they called it, the screen in left field, 251 feet away, 40 feet high, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a million stories about it. Okay. Years and years and years later, oh, God, 50 years later, I suppose it was, the Dodgers got a brilliant idea. I thought it was a brilliant idea. They were going to play a game at the Coliseum again, like in 1999 or something like that. And they scheduled an exhibition game against the Boston Red Sox. It drew 115,000. But here's the deal. Both teams, the Dodgers and the Red Sox, during that game. Oh, by the way, they reconfigured the Coliseum exactly the way it was during the 1958 and 59 season that the Dodgers played there. They did exactly what they had. Everything. They cut out seats. They moved the thing over. They did the whole deal, the whole schmear. There was hardly any foul territory off of first base. There was a whole shitload of foul territory off of third base. They did the same thing. They laid it out the same way. But during that game, here's the thing that's weird. During that game, both the Dodgers and the Red Sox played 2 outfielders.
In the whole game?
2 outfielders. Never had a left fielder, a center fielder, or a right fielder. They had a right center fielder and a left center fielder.
Why was that?
And then an infield because there was no room in left field. So they had a first baseman, a second baseman, a shortstop, a third baseman, and a guy who played right up the middle on the grass, on the dirt grass line behind second base. So they played with 5 infielders, 2 outfielders. why the hell didn't the Dodgers think of that in 1958 and 1959? That's brilliant. You don't need 3 outfielders. Hell, if you pop a ball up to left field, the shortstop could have gotten it.
Right.
Yeah. You don't need a guy out in left field. I thought that was great. Hey, here's one more thing that a lot of people don't know about. Let's go from the Coliseum. We'll go to Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium opened in 1962, right. I believe. Let me see.
Yes,
no?
62.
Yeah.
62.
All right, 62.
Yep.
Dodger Stadium opened up in 1962. Did you know that the foul poles were in foul territory that first year?
Really?
Oh. The Dodgers erected the foul poles in Dodger Stadium on the wrong side of the foul line. So the commissioner said you play the whole season, the first season, 1962, with the foul poles incorrect. So both foul poles were like 8 or 9 inches foul the whole season. They fixed it during the off season between 62 and 63. Now there's a good did you know, right?
Yeah.
So did they play 4 years? They played 4 years in the Coliseum?
58, 59, 60, and 61.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
4 years.
Yep.
And
in 61, O'Malley desperately wanted the team to win another pennant.
Sure.
Desperately because of the extra, the extra seating.
Sure. Absolutely. Because, when in the 1959 World Series, you can look it up. You can look it up if you want, as Casey would have said. The crowds at the Coliseum during the 1959 World Series were over 92,000 each game.
Yes.
Imagine the money that fat bastard made. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Whoa, baby.
The one good thing. The one good thing he did in those early years in Los Angeles was that benefit game that he arranged,
for Campanella.
Yeah.
Yep.
For Campy.
Yeah, 93,000 went to that one.
Yep.
That was
the
Campanella game. 93.
Look
it up. No. 93. I bet my dog on it. 93,000, and the Yankees won that game.
Yeah.
And he gave and he kept his word. All the money went to Campy.
Yep.
Huh. Yep. Really?
People were doubting that he was going to keep his word, but he did in fact keep his word.
Yep.
What was I going to say about Dodger Stadium? There's something else I wanted to say about Dodger Stadium. The last Dodger to hit a home run at Ebbets Field was Duke Snider.
Duke Snider, yes.
The first Dodger to hit a home run at Dodger Stadium was Duke Snider.
Huh.
Not the first guy to hit a home run at Dodger Stadium.
But the first Dodger.
First Dodger to hit a home run at Dodger Stadium was Duke Snider. Okay. That's about all the trivia I have. I have a whole bunch of trivia in my brain. That's why my brain is so weird. But let's come up to right now. The Dodgers made a blockbuster trade. By the way, I'm going to say this on the air.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today, January the 8th. No, I'm sorry. 2 weeks from today, January the 9th. 2 shows from now, our guests, I have invited Linda Wilson and Bernie Rose to come on the show so they can tell us all about the Dodgers getting Bryce Harper and all that stuff. I gave it that amount of time because I didn't think the Dodgers would have moved by then. In fact, they probably won't move off the dime by then. I probably made a mistake predicting January the 9th, but I wanted them on when it was a red-hot subject. The Dodgers, as we all know, pulled a huge blockbuster trade that if you didn't know anything about the Dodgers and didn't know too much about baseball, you were just a casual fan, if you looked at it in the newspaper or online or something, you would say, what the hell were they thinking? Because
exactly.
immediately on my phone blew up after that trade. And I was quite surprised at some of the people that were messaging me incredulously. They couldn't believe that the Dodgers had gotten Homer Bailey and two unknowns for all of those people. They didn't realize that the trade had nothing to do, very little to do with Homer Bailey. It had everything to do with dumping salary. And even though the Dodgers spent $7 million to the Cincinnati Reds, when all the smoke cleared, the Dodgers made on that trade between $17.5 million and $20 million. They cleared off of their books. Right. So it was a brilliant, in my estimation. I'm speaking for myself. It was a brilliant trade, absolutely brilliant. And we'll see what
they don't do anything more.
Well, they have to do something more because they have $20 million to spend.
Right.
Okay, so you know they're going to do something more, and people are all saying, a lot of people are saying, Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper. If Andrew Freidman called me up, and he's not going to call me up, but if Andrew Freidman called me up and said, Peter Trump, what should we do? I would say, here's what you do. You get Pollock to play center field, sign A.J. Pollock. You get Real Muto to be your catcher, and you get Kluber to be your ace pitcher, and then call it a day. Because, baby, you're going back to a third straight World Series if you can do that. I'm not hot for Bryce Harper. I am hot for Pollock, Kluber, and Real Muto. Now, I'll open it up. You guys can give me your interpretation of that trade.
I've got a couple of things to say here.
Go ahead.
I had heard a lot about Harper wanting to be in L.A. and all of that, but now I'm hearing stories that he might not end up in L.A. There's a good possibility, and there's some rumors now that Machado might be signed. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, please, no.
Well, there's always a lot of smoke around these things. You know, one of the biggest things right now is Bryce Harper and Machado's agents. Trying to get out of this with their guy getting the biggest contract. And
of course,
that's what's holding everything up right now. I mean, everybody's in abeyance waiting to see which of these guys is going to sign, because as soon as the first one signs, the second guy's going to sign, and then everybody else that's out there, are going to get offers. But until that happens, everybody's just sitting on their hands.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, another thing that I've heard, the Tigers are trying to trade Nick Castellanos.
Yes, I like him.
And the Dodgers are very interested in getting him.
Yeah, they are.
If the Harper thing isn't going to happen and Pollock, outprices himself, I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of a deal made with the Tigers, which, again, it would just cost them some minor leaguers. And they just picked up a couple of minor leaguers in that recent trade. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Castellanos being that right-handed bat the Dodgers want.
I read something online today that almost made me lose my lunch, and that was that the Dodgers have kept the door open in re-signing Grandal, Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah.
They're keeping the door open. Now, if that happens, forget about it. It's over. Dodgers don't go. They'll win the division. They ain't going anywhere with that guy. He couldn't catch a cold. What the Dodgers need to do, here's what the Dodgers need to do. And this, again, if Freidman does call me, I'll mention this as well. The two guys that you got from Cincinnati, the two young kids that you got from Cincinnati, take those two guys, add Verdugo and Ruiz to them. Send those 4 guys to Miami for Real Muto. And then you'll have the best catcher in baseball. You won't miss any of those 4 young guys, unless one of them turns into Henry Aaron, which is highly doubtful. And you'll have the best catcher in baseball. If they could sign Kluber, Pollock, and Real Muto, they have to be the odds-on favorite to go all the way. Now, I know the postseason is a crapshoot. You don't have to tell me that. I'm 72 years old, and I learned 50 years ago, you can't bet on baseball. You can't predict baseball.
No.
It just doesn't work out that way. Baseball is a different sport. It's not basketball, and it's not football. It's not boxing or horse racing. Baseball is totally unique. You cannot predict what's going to happen. It just can't happen that way. It's almost impossible. But that being said, the Dodgers get Real Muto. They get Kluber. They get Pollock. They're well on their way. They're at least going to appear. They're at least going to appear in their 3rd straight World Series if they get those 3 guys.
I heard rumors that the Padres are looking at Kluber.
Yeah, you want to know something, Ronnie? I don't think there's a team. I don't think there's a team that's not looking at him. I think everybody's looking at him. He's the Cy Young Award winner.
Right. He'd be fabulous.
Past Cy Young Award winner.
I'm sorry?
Past Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah. Well, he's instead of saying the, I should have said a. He's a Cy Young Award winner. The guy is not.
Right.
He's not a very good pitcher. He's a great pitcher. And you know something's weird. I don't know if you guys ever coached baseball. How long you had a dream of actually being a player, and how long that lasted. If you quit in your 2nd year of Little League, or if you went all the way through college playing ball. But my baseball thing lasted kind of long, and I coached both in high school and at the college level and stuff. And I didn't know too much about pitchers, but when I would see a kid short-arming the ball, you know what short-arming means? When a pitcher goes to when a player goes to throw the ball, instead of extending, let's say he's right-handed, instead of extending his right arm out almost straight and then coming forward and throwing the ball, he crooks his elbow and puts it next to his ear, not unlike a catcher. Right. And the worst thing, growing up all those years and coaching all those years, the worst thing you could see a pitcher do was short-arm the ball. And that's what Kluber does.
Right.
The first time I saw Kluber pitch, I said, oh, my God, how did this guy make the major leagues? He's not throwing the ball correctly. He's short-arming the ball. You could see pictures of Kluber if you Google images of Corey Kluber. They'll send you about 100 pictures. You'll see him in mid-wind-up or mid-delivery. The ball in his right hand is right behind his ear. If you look at any other pitcher, the ball, like Don Newcomb, for instance, he looks like he's trying to hand the ball to Pee Wee Reese. Right. His arm is totally extended behind him before he comes through. Kluber, not at all. Kluber is right next to his ear, and I always thought, this guy will never last. He's throwing the ball all wrong. Well, it just goes to show you how much I know. I don't know anything. This guy won a Cy Young Award and won 20 games last year, and he would be the ace if he came to L.A., and he short arms the hell out of the ball. Yeah. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
One problem with, your dream of those 3 players, Peter, is 2 of them have to be obtained in a trade.
I know.
Kluber's on the contract. Real Muto's on the contract. Pollock's the only free agent. And
I know.
I don't
know.
So
the guys that I was going to spend, if I were the GM, the guys I was going to spend to get Real Muto, I would have already spent before I got Kluber, and vice versa.
Right.
So the odds of getting Kluber and Real Muto are pretty slim. I would have to guess.
Yeah. And the thing
I
with,
would have to guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I
thing
would
with
say
Real
you're
Muto is unless, Jeter changes what he wants a professional major league player involved in the trade. And
like a Bellinger.
Yeah, he wanted
Bellinger.
Bellinger.
Yeah, he does.
When he was talking to the Mets, he wanted Rosario, the shortstop. He wanted
I know.
He wanted
Conforto. He wanted Nimmo. He wanted everybody.
Right.
Let me tell you something. I heard a convoluted rumor. I heard a rumor about a convoluted trade. The rumor itself wasn't convoluted. The rumor was a rumor, but it was very convoluted. And here I go. You ready for this?
Sure.
The Dodgers sign either Machado or Harper and flip him to the Yankees for Giancarlo Stanton.
I have also heard things of that nature. What I was hearing is that Stanton would be traded to the Dodgers, and the Yankees would sign Harper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
See, bottom line is the Dodgers. You mentioned Robert Cole. You mentioned 10 minutes ago that the Dodgers might have an interest, and in fact do have an interest in Nick Castellanos from Detroit Tigers. They're looking for a solid right-handed hitter. The Dodgers are right now a very, very, very left-handed lineup, a very lopsided left-handed lineup. They're looking for a right-hand bat, and Stanton would fit the bill. Castellanos would fit the bill. Real Muto would fit the bill.
Right.
But that's what they're looking for. I'm sorry?
Is he a pretty good ball player? Castellanos?
Who's
Castellanos? Oh, Castellanos.
Yeah.
Excellent ball player.
297, 23 homers last year.
Oh, that's fine. That's good.
Plus he can play the infield. Not only right field, he can play third base. Yeah. He's good. He's a good ball player. He would be. Now, Robert, you'll maybe a little smile across your face. Nick Castellanos would be equal to like a call for Rillo.
Yeah.
297, 23 homers, like that.
Good defensive, good defensive outfielder. Good
in
arm.
the vicinity of in the vicinity of a Ferrillo. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that trade, to me, that's crazy. For the Dodgers to sign Machado, first of all, Machado doesn't fit anywhere. So if the Dodgers do sign Machado, then there might be some truth to them flipping him to the Yankees for Stanton. And the reason I say that is because you have Justin Turner at third base, you have Seager at shortstop. You have no room for Machado. Okay? So if the Dodgers sign Machado, keep a thought, they might be flipping him to New York, to the Bronx.
Yeah, what are you hearing about Seager?
What I'm hearing about Seager is that he's young as hell, and that they expect him to bounce back 100%.
Okay, good.
But not immediately.
No, but he's not 35 years old, Robert.
No.
He's a young kid. He's gonna heal much better than if this happened to a 34, 35, 36-year-old.
Right.
Yeah, but you still have to. You still have to wait and see. Didi Gregorius of the Yankees, same situation.
True.
Young ball player, but they don't expect him back. I don't think until at least after the All-Star game.
Well, Seager had his way before Didi.
Yeah, Didi. Yeah.
But
the only flaw in that that trade, the Yankees can sign Machado, outright.
Yeah.
And trade Stanton to the Dodgers. So I don't see the need for all the convoluted maneuverings and everything.
Yeah.
That part of it doesn't make sense to me. Plus,
you know what? Though, Robert? As soon as you said that, a little light went off in my brain. Why the hell did the Seattle Mariners give the Mets Diaz and Cano when they could have worked much better deals if they separated those guys, especially Diaz.
The only way that anybody was going to take Robbie Cano was to sweeten the deal with Diaz. And you're absolutely right. They could have gotten much more for Diaz by sending him on his own.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't believe they didn't get anything really for Diaz.
Yeah, well, that's how bad they wanted to get rid of Cano. I mean, that's why I was so dead set against that trade, because something was telling me that something was wrong. You know, that they were willing to put Diaz in the package just to get rid of Cano.
Yeah.
And that still may happen. You know, we still may wind up with Cano getting drug busted again or something. You know, you don't know.
You know, I'll tell you what, before I knew about the trade, well, way before I knew about the trade, when Robbie Cano came back to play this past summer, when did he come back? Like in September or something?
Yeah.
August?
Something like that.
Whatever. I remember saying to my son-in-law, we were watching a game on TV, and I go, who the hell is that wearing Cano's number? And he goes, what do you mean wearing Cano's number? That's Cano. I said, that's not Cano. He said, yes, it is, Dad. It's Cano. And sure enough, I looked closer. It was Cano. I couldn't believe how fat he was.
Well, yeah.
He had to put on 35 pounds.
Wow.
Holy shit. I was shocked. I was shocked how heavy he was.
Yeah, and they played him at first the rest of the year. They didn't even play him at second.
Yes, they did, which is also a bad sign.
Yes, and one of the other things, you know, not to talk Mets here, we're talking Dodgers.
That's okay. We're talking baseball.
Okay, but his thing was he wants to become the major league leader all time in home runs for a second baseman.
Yes, he does.
And
he needs a few. He needs 40 or so.
Right.
Yeah.
And he insisted that he was going to be a second baseman. And I didn't like that either because, you know, the Mets already, you know, had Jeff McNeil, who they brought up, who was looking good at second.
I like him.
You know, we'll see how that works out.
I like him.
Oh, I love him. I think he's a good ball player.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think, we'll see how that shakes out. Yeah. We'll see how that shakes out. Somebody put on my Facebook page today a picture of Santa Claus saying 50 days to pitchers and catchers.
Yes, I saw that.
So it's not that far away, gentlemen. Not that far away.
We're on our way down the slope.
An interesting thing that I saw on the MLB network the other night. Okay,
yeah.
They were talking about, you know, how the launch angle and how all these players, you know, going with the launch angle, trying to put the ball up in the air.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. They were talking that now. Okay, what pitching coaches are starting to do, and what you're starting to see more of, is the high fastball.
Yeah, pitching up. I saw the same show.
Yep.
I saw the same show. Yeah, and they can't catch up to it up there.
No, and that was a fantastic, you know, thing. You know, watching that, and you know, there's going to have to be adjustments made.
Which only brings back the old adage: keep it simple, stupid. I mean, it's the simplest thing in the world. If you know, I didn't think of it, but imagine you sit down and you say, "No, wait a minute, the launch angle. If you threw the ball up, they can't get to it." You know, it makes sense. It's so simple. It was right there all the time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be Einstein to come up with that answer, and yet it took a pretty long time.
Yeah. But you coached a long time, Peter. I coached many years. Okay, and what did we teach our pitchers? Throw low.
Oh yeah, always keep it low and outside.
Right.
Okay. Well,
low and outside. Right.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the launch angle came in. So now you're going to switch it, and you're going to teach them how to throw high. You know, throw it up, you know, the chest level. And the umpires have started calling the high strike again too.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Which I think they should. That, you know, I don't want to get into a discussion, a brand new discussion about umpiring and strike zones and stuff like that. It's 57 after the hour. It's time for us to say goodnight. But very, very interesting stuff, how baseball subtly changes over the years and how things in 1950s are no longer true or seem to be no longer true. You know, imagine a pitcher lifting weights back in the 50s.
Oh, no.
Right.
No.
And now that's all they do.
They were running, yeah.
Yep. But now all they do is lift weights.
Yep.
So everything changes. That's the one thing you can bank on is change. So, you know, we're learning that. The three of us are 210 years old between us or something like that or whatever. So, you know, we're learning that, you know, everything changes. It just keeps on changing. And we love the game and we keep up with it and we see what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to me. It really is going to be interesting to me to see what Andrew Freidman attempts to do. I'm not saying that he's going to be successful in what he wants to do, but it's going to be interesting for me to read all of the things. When all is said and done, all the smoke clears and everything is done, I'm going to then find out exactly what Andrew Freidman's plan was. And I'll bet you $1 right now, $1, I'll bet you his ultimate plan is Pollock, Kluber, and Real Muto. I don't know how he's going to do it or how he plans on it or thinks he might be able to do it. But now tomorrow when you wake up, you'll see Machado as a Dodger or Bryce Harper's a Dodger.
Right.
But that doesn't close the door on my theory, because I think down the road you're going to hear something, you're going to read something, you know, that the Dodgers, their first attempt was Kluber, Real Muto, and you know, we'll see. Andrew Freidman is a very interesting guy, and
he is.
Robert knows all about Andrew Freidman.
Oh, yeah.
Robert Cole knows more about Andrew Freidman than you and I put together, Ronnie, because we only know Andrew Freidman since he became. Well, he ran the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right. Yeah.
When they were great, when the Tampa Bay Rays were great, and I'm not saying they're pushovers now because they're a 90-win team, and they're an up-and-coming team. It's a shame they have to play in that division, but anyway. Yeah, Robert Cole knows all about Andrew Freidman and the things that he can do, the things he can pull off. And now he's got millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to do even more. So it's going to be extremely interesting. And,
it will be. It will be.
And we'll see how it shakes out.
Hey,
and with that, sure, absolutely. Take your time. Go ahead.
Is Magic Johnson still involved with the Dodgers?
He is.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Because he's so involved with the Lakers now. I mean,
the Lakers, right?
Yeah, he's with the Lakers and the Dodgers. Now, here's what the rumor is. Here's the rumor mill out there. I got cousins, I got nieces, nephews that live out there. The rumor out there is the whole thing started when they got LeBron James. The Lakers got LeBron James.
Right.
Magic said, "Listen, we got LeBron James. Now we got to get the baseball LeBron James. We got to get Bryce Harper on the Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
We have to have the two best players in their respective sports playing here in our backyard." And that's what started all the little balls rolling, sometimes in different directions, but whatever. And that's how it gained traction. Those rumors gained traction. You said before there's a lot of smoke. Absolutely there's a lot of smoke. But behind that smoke, some of those balls that are rolling gain traction. And they gain traction through, meetings. These guys just, they're smarter than I am. They're a hell of a lot richer than I am. And they come up with these ideas and they put these deals together, and it's just mind-boggling sometimes how clever they are.
He's like a magician, that Freidman.
Yeah.
He is. He's very, very good.
Yeah, and I love the fact that the other guy went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Zaidi.
Yeah.
Saidi, yeah.
I'm glad he's gone, and I'll tell you why. I have a sneaky suspicion. Do I know this for a fact? Absolutely not. I don't know anything. I'm guessing. I'm just a baseball fan, that's all. I'm guessing that Saidi was the guy who used to tell manager Roberts what the lineup should be and when the pitcher should come out and when you should go to the bullpen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think
that'll change this year?
I think since he's gone, that's not going to happen as much.
Good.
I think that was Zaidi's baby. I don't think that was Freidman. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out.
Are we on next week?
What's that?
On the 2nd.
Are we on next week? Well, let's talk about it. You want to be on next week? January 2nd?
I can't be. For sure. It's my granddaughter's birthday.
Okay. Robert, you want to be on next week, or you want to wait till the 9th?
You make the call. I can be without a problem. So that's
okay. Let's be on. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's be on.
Right.
I'll tell Ralph we're going to be
guys.
on. Okay. No sweat. No sweat. All right. Listen.
All right.
I thank both of you, Robert Cole and Ron Rabinovitz, my partners in crime here on the Dodger Network, Comfortably Zoned Radio, A Tale of Two Cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Another wonderful show. And look for it to be posted online and YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. And I'll talk to you next week. And throughout the week, I'll talk to you on Messenger. Okay?
Yeah,
good night, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.